Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the Nike GT Hustle 3. So yeah, this is Wemby's shoe. Kinda. He was wearing the GT Hustle 2 and now he's wearing the GT Hustle 3 with his big ass feet. You got some big feet, guys. I mean, obviously, right? But yeah, this shoe is, it retails for 190 bucks. So one of Nike's most expensive hoop shoes besides the LeBrons and also the Jordan 39s, which are both $200. You know what I mean? So 190 bucks is freaking expensive. And this shoe, if you guys didn't know, is supposed to be like a running shoe inspired hoop shoe, which you can definitely tell. Like I had some people ask me like, why are you wearing running shoes when you're hooping? I'm like, these are actually Wemby's hoop shoes. But yeah, if you guys do want to call, try to leave the affiliate link in the description box. And if you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box, or there'll be a product picture underneath this video, or I'll try to put a link right here in the corners. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. But yeah, let's get started off with the Tracciones, right? So in this colorway, we have a gum rubber, and we have this interesting traction pattern, right? It's kind of separated, kind of serrated, I would say. But also we have this really nice parabola. You know, it's a nice curve here in the forefoot, and then it kind of wraps around here into the heel. And we have this exposed part in the heel as well, with the Nike swoosh and exposing the foam, of course. But how's the traction? The traction, so if you're playing on a clean court, it's actually really nice. You have a really nice bite. You need to break it in a little bit. You know what I mean? You need to break it in a little bit, but once you do, it gets better and better. And I would say it has a really nice, solid bite on a clean court, right? So not top tier, but nice and solid, right? And also, the squeak is not very loud. And squeak, of course, has nothing to do with performance, but I feel like most hoopers like to have a little bit of a squeak, right? Once you break it in, it gets a little bit squeakier, but not super loud or anything, especially comparing to some of the other shoes that I've been testing, like the Jordan 39 or the WOW 11, which has a really nice loud high-pitched squeak. Not as loud in these, right? The one thing that I didn't like about the traction is the performance on dust. So it does pick up a good amount of dust. And when I was playing on a slightly dusty court too, it just like, even if I did wipe, I had like 1 or 2 good stops. That's it. Like it just stopped really well once or twice, and then it picked up dust and just started to slide around. The sliding around wasn't terrible, but it was just like sliding around just a tiny bit, to the point where like I noticed it and it wasn't a great stop. So yeah, if you're playing on a really dusty court, definitely stay away from these. If you're playing on a slightly dusty court, you're gonna have to wipe a lot. So just be careful with that. But if you're playing on a moderately clean court or really clean court, you should be fine in the GT Hustle 3. As far as the durability goes, I feel like, I don't know, these lines are really thin, but when you feel it with your finger, the rubber feels kind of hard. So I feel like it'll be okay on an outdoor court, but I definitely feel like because of these thin lines, it might rip off. So take that with a grain of salt, but I feel like it'll be okay on an outdoor court, right? Now moving on to the heel to toe transition. Oh my goodness, guys, it's freaking crazy. And just running down the court doing heel dominant strides is just, I don't know, I don't think I've ever felt, I have, like in the Zoom GT jump, but like in the hustles though, you know what I mean? Because the GT jump line is supposed to be like the craziest cushioning setup line, and then the GT hustle is supposed to be more for like longevity. So I guess it makes sense for the cushion, but like, holy crap, you know what I mean? So here in the heel, we have a crazy curve shape, right? And also pretty much fully exposed midsole with a lot of freaking compression. So it's really soft here in the heel. And coming into the forefoot, this is one of the craziest rocker shapes that I've played in like for the past year, or at least this year. Like look at this. Look at how crazy exaggerated this rocker shape is. Look at that. It literally makes the shoe go vertical. You know what I mean? So honestly, personally, I like that. So just from the shape, it's extremely smooth, right? There's not a whole lot of like flex in the overall shoe because of the zoom in. It's actually kind of hard to flex it. So it's not super flexible or anything like that, but because of the shape, it just kind of propels you forward, especially if you put a little bit of weight here into the tip of the toe. So yeah, heel to toe transition, extremely freaking smooth. And with the cushioning setup, it's really freaking bouncy and pretty explosive as well, right? So as far as the foam goes, I looked on the Nike website and also like Foot Locker and stuff like that. They don't say what the foam is, right? They just say soft foam. So I'm sorry if I get the tech wrong, but it's extremely soft. I'm guessing it's probably either like Cushlon or something like that. I don't think it's React or anything, but they're probably using Cushline, right? But anyways, there's a crazy amount of compression here in the heel, especially with this shape. This shape allows the foam to like sandwich down a little bit almost, you know what I mean? So in the heel, it's crazy for the compression. It's extremely soft, and I would say it's too much for me personally. It's way too much, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be straight up. I mean, of course, I have my own personal preferences. I like to have a lot of compression, but this is too much. I like compression. I like bounce. I like comfort. I don't know. I don't really ever see anyone really enjoying this shoe if you're a hooper. You know what I mean? Because it's just too much. You know? Maybe if you're like if you really need cushion, maybe if you're older and you really need a lot of cushion, maybe I guess I could see that. But for the most part, it's too much, you know? And then here in the forefoot, we got a double stacked zoom unit. It's freaking crazy. So from the bottom of the shoe, you can see this horseshoe shaped zoom unit, right? And we can see it exposed here on the lateral side. There's a lot of compression actually. So it is a little bit of an outrigger, but there's still compression from that. And then, so first of all, for the insole, right? Where it's an insole slash kind of drop-in almost, but apparently this is Zoom X foam. Right, and Zoom X foam is of course extremely nice, but then it's not that nice with this because it's insole thickness. You know what I mean? So no matter how nice the foam is, if you're gonna have a foam, whether it be Cushline, React, Boom, or whatever, Boost, if it's this thin, it's not gonna improve the step and comfort that much. And it didn't really do that much in this shoe either, even though it is Zoom X, right? And of course, in the heel, we have a regular strobo board, right? But then in the forefoot, we have a Zoom strobo unit, which is freaking crazy. So in the forefoot, it has a good amount of compression and bounce, you know, and really crazy, right? But I definitely feel like with this insole, because they are using a foam type of insole, with that, it's a little bit stiffer than like Ortholite insole. You know what I mean? The Ortholite insole is a little bit more bendy. With this foam, like the Zoom X foam insole, it's a little bit more kind of rigid. So it doesn't feel as unstable in the forefoot. You know, for example, like in the Kyrie Infinities and the Kyrie 8. I didn't really like those too much because it was too much. It was just too unstable, too much compression. But with this, like insole, I definitely feel like they made it a little bit better and a little bit more stable in the forefoot for the Zoom Strobo unit, right? So with that, crazy bounce in the forefoot. So like when you're doing heel dominant strides or just going out of your first step, there's a lot of compression and also there's a little bit of bounce, right? So that kind of propels you forward from the heel. And then with this crazy rocker shape, and then with the double stack zoom unit, you have a lot of bounce from the forefoot as well. So it's just crazy, guys. And also another thing that I really didn't like about the cushioning setup is that it's really bad for court feel. You're super duper high up off the ground. It's like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you're looking for the most well-cushioned shoe that you can get right now, this is the best shoe that you can get. But again, there is such thing in my personal opinion as too much cushion, and this shoe has too much cushion. One thing that I really liked about the shape of the overall shoe though is that it really keeps you on your toes with this rocker shape. So it really helped me shoot. You know what I mean? When you shoot, you want to be more on your toes, and it felt a lot more comfortable, especially comparing to like shoes that are a little bit flatter. So it felt really interesting, kind of like changing shoes up and coming into the GT Hustle 3 comparing to like a flatter shaped shoe. But that felt really nice. But again, cushion, too much. So there is that. Moving on to the upper. So they're calling this the radial knit upper, and I really like how they're trying to bring back knit, it feels like. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's basically a fly knit material, and it's really, really thin. It's extremely thin. There's a lot of like ventilation holes as well, which this shoe has a lot of ventilation, like a lot of airflow, which makes this shoe extremely good for ventilation. Like that's a lot of airflow, right? But also here on the sides, we can see that it's a little bit more grouped together and a little bit more knitted together so that you have a little bit more support, which of course makes sense. But yeah, it's a really nice material. It feels great. It's thin, it's supportive, it's minimal, conforms to your foot really well. So I also, the quality is really great. You know what I mean? It kind of takes me back to like 2012, 2015 flying it, you know? And then for the swoosh, we have like it's like a plastic material on the lateral side. And on the medial side, it feels more like a fused material almost, you know what I mean? And then for the tongue, we have like an average amount of tongue. It's okay, it's not super well padded, but also one thing I really don't like about the tongue is that it's independent. It's an independent tongue, not a half booty constructed tongue, which why? Why? You know what I mean? Literally every single modern basketball shoe has a half booty construction tongue. So what that is that it's a tongue that goes all the way into the bottom of the shoe right here, right? So it attaches to the material, goes underneath the upper, kind of like giving you a little bit of another material here in the forefoot and midfoot area. And it keeps the tongue in place and gives you a better overall fit. You know what I mean? But with the independent tongue, it doesn't really move around because we do have an extra eyelid on the tongue. However, it freaking folds in on itself. Look at this. Can you guys see that? It folds in on itself when you're putting the shoe on. Of course, that doesn't really have anything to do with performance, but when you're putting the shoe on, it folds in on itself and you kind of have to like fix it, which is kind of annoying. And also here in the ankle area, we do have a good amount of padding. Like on the sides, not too much, but in the back, we actually have a nice bit of padding, which feels nice and cozy. So yeah, for 190 bucks, like honestly, I like the quality. It feels nice on foot. It's overall pretty supportive. So yeah, I do like the overall material. And now moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and holy crap, guys, it runs short. It's really short, right? So my toes go literally right to the edge of the shoe. Also here in the toe box, it's really snug, and width-wise, I would say it's pretty narrow as well. So if you like a really snug fit, then go true to size. But for most people, I would say probably go up half a size because it is really tight lengthwise, especially for me. I mean, I don't really mind it all too much when I'm hooping, you know what I mean? Because I like a really snug fit, and then it's just like when I'm moving around and like sprinting and stuff like that, doing cuts, I don't notice it as much, you know? But when I'm just casually walking around in this shoe, it's a really tight fit, which I don't like. So there's a fit there. Moving on to support and lockdown. So support and lockdown is one thing that this shoe is not really good at, which is weird because it's Wemby's shoe, and Wemby needs a lot of support. He's a big ass dude, right? But yeah, so lateral containment, it definitely wasn't the best, right? So like I said, this radial knit upper is supportive in the way of like, it doesn't stretch, which is good. You know what I mean? You don't want to stretch a material, but there's not a whole lot of, there's no lateral counter here in the forefoot. You know what I mean? And because this material is so soft, combining that, your foot kind of moves here in the forefoot a little bit. So I definitely felt my forefoot coming out of the footbed a little bit, which kind of sucked, you know what I mean? And I'm not that heavy, so I definitely feel like if you're heavier, especially with the softer cushion here, you're gonna feel it a lot more, right? You're gonna feel this softer cushion is gonna compress and it's just gonna go like this. You're not gonna feel stable that way, and also with your forefoot coming out of the footbed, not super responsive, right? Here in the midfoot and heel, of course, we have the foam coming up back to the sidewall, and there's an internal TPU counter, but overall lateral containment, not the best. So if you're a very shifty player, you do a lot of lateral movements, this shoe definitely is not good for that, right? Also, lateral stability is terrible, right? You're very high up off the ground, first of all, which of course is a bad thing. But then combining that with the crazy, okay, so first of all, we do have an outrigger, which is good. I like that. But then the zoom in is really soft. So you have a good amount of compression here in the forefoot, right? So you're not really laterally stable here in the forefoot. Also here in the heel, you're crazy high up off the ground. It's pretty narrow for the heel as well. And it's so soft for the foam that there's just so much compression that it's not stable. You know what I mean? So yeah, lateral stability. I mean, I didn't roll my ankle playing in these, but I didn't feel laterally stable, and it was always in the back of my mind. You know, I didn't feel safe playing this shoe that much. So just be careful with that, right? Especially if you're doing a lot of lateral movements. And also if you're jumping around a lot, be careful with that too. But I guess if you're just like, I don't know, backing people down, you don't really need that as much. So you should be fine if you're like more of a post player, I guess. But other than that, terrible support and lockdown, you know what I mean? I didn't really experience any heel slippage, so I guess that's good, right? So there's that. Moving on to the weight of the shoe. I feel like the shoe's gonna be kind of light. Yeah, 11.45 ounces. Let's check the other shoe, 11.25 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So that's like more than an ounce lighter than average. And yeah, this shoe feels extremely lightweight. It feels really minimal, especially for the upper. But you do feel very high up off the ground. So I guess like you do feel kind of tall. Like I felt kind of tall playing it when I had the shoe on, you know, when I was playing it. But you don't feel very quick. You know what I mean? Like when I was playing on a clean court, I did like the traction, and that definitely did help with the overall like stability issues that the shoe had. But when I was playing on a more dusty court, the traction not being good, and of course the lateral stability, this cushion being way too soft, and the lateral support here in the forefoot not being the best, I just did not feel quick in this shoe. You know what I mean? I did feel really quick when I was going down the court though. You know what I mean? Like when I'm going in a straight line, I felt really quick because the cushion is just so soft and bouncy. So that's one good thing about the cushion, right? But if you're doing a lot of lateral movements like cuts, crossover, step backs, you're definitely not going to feel quick in this shoe, right? So there's that. Moving on to the aesthetics, I don't really like it too much. It looks like a running shoe, you know what I mean? And just, you know, so tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, no, don't get this shoe, right? Casually, however, if you're looking for a really comfortable shoe casually, this is really nice. And also, if you're looking for the most amount of cushion that you can get right now, like I said, if you're older and you need a lot of cushion, or maybe you're playing on outdoor court, I don't know, then I guess this is good. But for most people, right? If you don't have to worry about that, and you're pretty shifty and stuff like that, which I feel like a lot of people are nowadays, you're quick, then this definitely is not the best shoe. You know what I mean? And I definitely feel like there's a really small niche of people that would really enjoy the shoe. But for the most part, I feel like, you know, it's not the best. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the Nike GT Hustle 3. Again, if you guys do want to call, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one.